Hello, are we live? We're live ahead of time. Yes, that's right. So it's almost over? No, that's bad. Championship, immersive interactive championship. Interactive and immersive championship.
Malcolm says no audio for Marcus.
Oh, no audio. I just had a delivery of bananas. FYI, I just thought I'll fill in some space here.
Eat out bananas.
Pardon?
As you rotate them, they were keying out.
Oh yeah, of course.
I can hear you, Marcus, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I can hear you too. That's weird. So.
Logo this now. Okay. Well, I think that works now.
Yep. You guys can hear Marcus?
We have to wait. Sign and wait. Okay, well, anyway, I didn't say anything interesting anyway. So we have Ginger with us, right?
Yeah, apparently your audio is really crunchy. But anyway, so yes, today we are very, very happy to have Ginger Leigh, also known as Synthestruct. She's an interactive and audiovisual artist who combines coding, lots of sensors, huge interest in sound, and of course visuals, and a lot of data to create really interesting interactive experiences, installations, and full dome performances. Marcus, can we hear you now?
Sorry, I was just testing actually if I had what my sound was. Yeah, so should we go over the usual thing, like we'll look at what InSession is next, and then get on to Ginger. But yeah, InSession, maybe for anybody who's visiting for the first time, I hope people can hear me even though it's robotic. We have been running InSession for the last few months. As
Marcus, apparently you are not very audible. Mike is really noisy.
I'm just not going to say anything.
It could be yeah, because I had to use a microphone with that computer. Okay, yeah. So InSession is something that we do once a month, every 3 weeks, and we have a form at derivative.ca/InSession. It'll take you to a page that describes what InSession is, which is basically where some of our developers work with someone from the community on one of their projects, and basically to optimize and show best practice, and sometimes find new solutions. And it's always super interesting. And if you go to, well, you're on our YouTube page right now, but you can find the last 5 InSessions there as well. So definitely check them out. And that form at the bottom, click on it and send us your projects and join us on the show. And that's InSession.
And we'll take it over to you and Ginger.
Yay. Hi, Ginger.
Hello, Isabel.
Welcome to InSession. It's really, really super to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me to be on.
Live from Florida with your little cats playing in the background.
They'll be over shortly.
They'll be over. Yeah, so first of all, congratulations on the incredible showing at the Interactive and Albers, Interactive and Immersive Championship. It was 2 days of incredibly interesting results and very surprising results. So what was it like for you? I mean, did you have fun? Was it nail biting? What was your experience?
All of those things. It was definitely very fun. I really enjoyed it. Actually, both competitions I was on 2 hours of sleep. So
Wow.
it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of autopilot. So it's fun as is, but also fun in the sense that you have no idea what's going on because you're just in autopilot mode. So, and I think one of my favorite parts I've mentioned was behind the scenes. We all had the Discord that we were talking
Yeah.
before the championship, and so
Yeah,
they,
I was surprised. I was on that Discord as well, and it was amazing how you guys were helping each other. It didn't even feel competitive. It felt collaborative.
yeah. And so I thought that was really the best part was being able to compete alongside some of the most amazing people in the
Yeah,
community,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so that was really nice.
And beat them. Sorry.
But there were so many amazing projects. I mean,
I
I would
know.
not want to be a judge in that competition. There was
No,
so many good
no.
projects that came out of that.
Yeah, it was incredible. So one of the things that really intrigued me in you were talking to Albers and talking about how you were preparing for the championship, and you said that you were cramming.
Mhm.
And I understand cramming for a physics exam or something, but how do you cram? How do you cram Touch Designer
So
for?
I'm one of those people that I like to be as prepared as I can for certain things. And, since all of it's a surprise, we knew the themes, but we didn't know what the exact challenge was going to be. And so, when we were given certain information, I would pull out certain little clues to try and figure out maybe what we were going to be given for the challenge. But as you
Okay.
mentioned, I mean, you can't really cram that much. And as Greg had said in the previous in session, it's open book. So it's not like you can't look stuff up
Right.
during it. But I really wanted to have all the things that I haven't used in months at the forefront of my mind. So it wasn't like trying to do something that I haven't done in 6 months
Yeah.
and trying
Yeah.
to remember everything. Because as you know, in Touch Designer, there's so many different aspects of Touch Designer. So if you step away from one area of it for several months and then try to go
Right.
back, sometimes you have to relearn all of that.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were looking at. I mean, during the championship, Simon Alexander's palette.
Mhm.
He had a really enviable palette. So do you sort of have a very populated palette? Do you drag all
Definitely.
your
Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely. But during the championship, that was one of the things that we couldn't do is if we had any
Oh,
tools, they obviously discouraged just dragging things in and then connecting a
okay.
few of your pre-made things and then
Yeah,
being done
yeah.
with it. So yeah, they really pushed us to create everything from scratch during the championship. So everything that you saw was created within that
Right,
hour time
right,
frame.
right.
Yeah.
Really amazing. So we'll be looking at some of that later. But before that, how has lockdown been for you? I mean, you're in Florida, and it's been months and months of not really leaving the house, and pretty much like I mean, our community has gone into R&D mode and produced some really amazing work and not like new knowledge base and stuff. But how about you? Like, what?
So in the beginning, it was really rough because I had some really exciting projects planned that involved traveling, and I was really
Oh,
looking forward to those. And then within like a week of time, right at the beginning, one after another just got canceled or pushed back indefinitely. And so it was really rough at the beginning. And then, since a lot of what we do with Touch Designer requires a physical space to present the work
exactly.
as an installation. So it was really challenging figuring out how to transition from having those things lined up, canceled, and then okay, where am I going to go now? So I actually took the opportunity to dedicate some time to learning some things that I hadn't had time to learn previously. So I
Right.
basically, ventured into GLSL and some other areas
Nice.
that required some more dedicated time to work on those. And then, luckily, within the past 4 weeks or so, I've had some really great projects come up that I'm very excited about. And so it kind of
Yeah.
went into personal introspective learning mode to now working on several projects for some other events and things.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
great. So I know you can't really talk about what you're really excited these days because you're still the projects haven't been disclosed, but you said you could tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I can mention that it is science related,
Ooh.
which I'm very excited about because all the work that I do, I always say that basically what I do is an excuse to combine all these different interests that I have. And
Yeah.
so if I was only doing visuals, then I would get bored because I would also want to be doing sound. I would also want to be doing some programming elements. I would also want to be working with sensors. so basically all the work that I do is an excuse to combine all these things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I really love science, and the opportunity to actually work with scientists and
Wow.
get their input and then use that to create a experience where people can, through that experience, learn more about the science
Wow.
that's used to create it.
Is it going to be a live experience, like experience live, or is it going to be virtual, or I should stop asking questions?
It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be very mysterious for now.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But hopefully within the next month, there will be more information on it.
Okay. Does it involve sensors?
Yes, definitely.
No, we were talking before, and Ginger said basically that if it doesn't involve sensors, she didn't do it, or didn't enjoy doing it.
I didn't enjoy doing it. Yeah, because I always love creating projects that either I can control in real time, or I can put out there as a system that other people can control in real time. Because I really like that element of being able to consistently change in the moment, as opposed to everything being predefined.
Right, absolutely. So I was looking back. We started writing. Ginger and I started working on an article for the Derivative Showcase in 2019, near the end. And I was looking back at the questions, and there's this one question that I read last night. I'm gonna throw it out there. But what do you think this new year and decade have in store for us? Tech, science, society, world health, how we interact. How do you think our art will evolve in the near, not so near future? I mean, that's kind of uncanny, right?
Yeah, and I had started to answer that question very differently when you first sent it. And of course now, with everything that's going on with COVID and everybody being locked in their houses and finding new ways to basically express themselves, since we can't do it physically in venues. I think looking on the positive side of it, obviously there's been a lot of negatives, but looking on the positive end of it, I think it's been a huge inspiration for people to experiment with new ways of engaging with people virtually, and new platforms, and creating new platforms. I was involved with Mutech, that did their online version of Mutech.
And they San Francisco?
Yeah. And they had to create a whole new platform for that. So basically, within, I think they only had like a month to completely change over their approach to how they were doing that event. So yeah, through this, a lot of new platforms have been created, and a lot of new experimentation with how to engage with audiences virtually.
And it really speaks to the agility and adaptability of our communities, right? I mean, there were a few moments of sort of what now, but it's been the uptake was really, transition was quite smooth.
Yeah, because I mean, all of us working with TouchDesigner, we have a very experimental spirit, and always want to try new things. So it works out great for
explorers.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be diving into that really cool Twitch text-to-speech and TouchDesigner Ableton audio-visual mixing project that you created for the Interop. I think it was the Interop competition. The Interop.
Yeah. Which is yes. I think it was the second one. It was the integration.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was incredible. And I think Marcus has a video that he's been playing, or maybe he can play it, and Ginger can sort of walk us a little bit through what you did, because it was such fast work.
They've really got like a trifecta.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think Ginger's doing really well this one, just because it looks like
so this was kind of like version 1, and are we going to have sound? Are we waiting for sound, Ginger?
It should be on Marcus's end, right?
I think you guys can't hear the sound. Yeah.
Ginger's
just not us. Okay.
Ginger's got a notch block in there. They're working with Ableton, and they're working with Touch.
So this was version 1.0, and today we're going to with Ivan and Jarrett. I think you've taken it a little bit further, right?
Yeah. As soon as the video finishes, then I'll talk more about it, because I think they're still listening to the sound. I don't know if we're talking over it right now. So
Ginger's really going to town.
Okay, so what you just saw was basically what was created in 1 hour during the challenge, during the championship. And so the challenge was the integration challenge. And at the beginning of the challenge, we were all given basically a talk that would connect to Twitch and allow us to access what was going on in Twitch. And so since it was the integration challenge, what I wanted to do is basically combine multiple things together, but also create basically a complete prototype of this idea that I had, which was during the championship to allow the chat to become part of the final piece. So whatever they were typing in the chat, I was pulling into the project and then visualizing that. And then there was actually many different layers. So basically, in the background, you can see there's Notch running the visuals, which I pulled in as a Notch block. And then the text was being pulled from the chat. And then the audio reaction, basically the text was being translated to speech in TouchDesigner or a script, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then the audio reaction was coming from Ableton, going back and then doing the effects. So there were several different layers going on. I probably forgot a few of them too. So that was the first version of it that is like the prototype that was done within 1 hour within the championship.
So dope. Okay, I think on that note, I mean, even though I could just watch your cats play in the background, but
can you see them right now? Oh yeah,
yeah, I can see them. I can see them. Yeah. But I think let's go over to Ivan and Jarrett and see where things are at now. And everybody in the chat, please feel free to ask questions, and we will answer.
I think Marcus was going to switch over Parsec, right, to do the walkthrough. Yes. And then
yeah, we want to do Ginger on our own for the first bit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do a walkthrough. So when they invited me to dive more into the project, I added a few things to it that I had been wanting to add. So that was a really good excuse to actually dive in and add those before today. So yesterday I went in and kind of rearranged the project. And I had a few people specifically, such as Rob, who's probably watching right now, requested that I actually dive in and talk about how it's created. So just to give an overview, so I have the MIDI. I'll show you guys. So everything right now is set up to be controlled with the Arturia MIDI controller. And then I have TD Ableton running, so I'll dive into that in just a second. And then the main Twitch chat, we go inside here. So it's actually, the way that it's set up right now is actually relatively simple in terms of the network. But basically, through the API setup, is connecting to my Twitch, which is actually running right now, and I'll give you guys a link in just a second. And then when it types in the messages, then I have it sent to the FIFO, first in, first out, which is here. So as the messages, sorry, here's the API. As the messages are coming in, then it's basically scrolling through it. So I'm getting the messages up to 8 to map it to the MIDI as it's coming in real time. And then, let's see. So then I'm basically parsing it out so that, let me pull this over here so you guys can see what the final result looks like. So this is the setup that I have right now. And let me see if I'm still connected. Yeah, and I see some people are typing something. So actually, let me go ahead and refresh my connection to Twitch. And Marcus or someone, do you want to post the link to the Twitch and YouTube? And it should reconnect. Let's see. So as you guys type in messages, if you wanted to go to that link, so what it's doing is this is basically, there's 2 feeds. So kind of imagine this is like the DJ queue setup. And so on the left-hand side here is the incoming messages that are going to keep scrolling up. And so on the MIDI controller, I have it set up where, so let's say that I like the bottom message there, which is number 8. So then I can press that, and it's going to put it in the queue here. And then these are my slots that I'm actually going to be working with. So let's say I wanted to overwrite this one, then I could press that. And then so that's now in my queue. So then as I turn up the volume on that one, so I'm basically mixing the different levels, then that text is going to appear. And then when I play the audio in just a second, then the messages that are coming in, each one is then translated to its own text-to-speech file. And so then in Ableton, oops, there we go. In Ableton, each one, so I have the 8 different tracks are basically being mixed in together. And so each time that it changes, I'll just change a couple of them. There we go. So I can mix in the different levels from all of the different audio samples. And then it only overwrites the file when a slot is changed, so it's not constantly writing out stuff. And then one thing that we were going to take a look at today, which this is actually a great project example for, is using the engine comp. Because if you don't use the engine comp with this particular project, then every time that it writes that file, it actually slows it down. So this is a really good example of using the engine comp for a project in TouchDesigner. And this, I'll dive in for people that are interested because the engine comp is actually pretty new. So with the engine comp, what I actually had to do, because currently, correct me if I'm wrong, it only takes in tops and chops. Is that still correct? Yes. No, it's from.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So so it currently only brings in tops and chops, and most of what I was working with was other information in the DAT. So what I ended up doing, which is actually a suggestion from one of Elber's emails that he sends out weekly, is to basically use a touch out DAT with the information and then use the touch in within the engine. The engine is obviously a black box, so I can't just click on it to open it up and show you, which would be really cool. But so inside of there, I have a touch in that is pulling in the information from the text that I want to write. And then it's, actually, I can go into this one that I sent Ivan yesterday. Let's see, to show you. The script itself is pretty simple. What it's doing is basically getting the text information, so as a string, what's coming from the table, and then I'm writing a file from that. And then so every time that I change the slot information, then it just overwrites that one file. So at any given point, I only have 8 audio files that I'm working with, and it only writes over it when it changes. And as mentioned, though, it does need the engine comp, because otherwise you'd either have to do a separate TouchDesigner instance, or if you do it in the same one without the engine comp, it does slow down every time that you write the file. So that's why that was necessary. And then I have it sent out finally to the visuals that are in the background and then is composing over. I have a GLSL effect on the text. And so actually from Ableton, TD Ableton, I'm grabbing the levels of each track and combining them to be able to do the effect on the composite text as the amplitude of that GLSL effect. And then let's see, I can't see messages. So if there's any part like specific questions that anybody wants me to dive into, I can do that. Or actually, if we want to do an audio sample, I'll turn this up.
Everybody should hear it.
Okay. So, oh, and actually, yeah, that's a great lead into one thing I wanted to show you guys. That's one of the questions that Ivan is going to answer today, which I'm really excited about, is so during the competition, I had to do something actually kind of funny. Is like every time it would write the file, it doesn't automatically update in Ableton. So basically, I'd have to keep clicking back and forth to activate the different programs. So I'd have TouchDesigner active, and then I'd switch back to Ableton. And then once it activates Ableton as an active program, then it would update the call to the file. And then, so every time I changed it, then I'd have to keep switching back and forth. So one of the things that Ivan's going to dive into, he found a solution yesterday on how to fix that, which should be really exciting. So with the audio, show you guys an example. And you'll see it on Twitch, but it's probably going to be a little bit lagged. So let's say, where's my other window? So with the mixer, so let's say somebody said chop, chop, chop. So let's say I want to do that. So it puts it in the queue, and then I can figure out what slot I want to put it in. So I can put it there. And then if I want to add that to the audio, so you'll see it's not going to do it right away, because then, so now that it's here, and this is what we're working on today, is I can go back to live, and then when I click on it, then it's going to update the audio file. So there's that. So let me send this down and then I'll go over. So during the competition, I really like this idea of being able to, since everything I do is pretty much like based on specific experiences and doing things that are site specific. So during the competition, I really like the idea of the audience that was watching the competition to be able to interact with it through whatever messages they typed. The next step I can see with this is since we are in a time where figuring out how to engage with audiences virtually, I think that this would be a really cool tool to do a performance, possibly on Twitch, maybe either even another platform. Twitch is a very interesting platform for doing live stuff, so that's the way that's currently set up. And so doing a live performance where people can basically have a say in this abstract narrative of where the vocals end up going and then being able to mix it live. And I really like the idea of people being able to have that creative input of creating this weird abstract story, and the idea of if I'm mixing it, I don't know what direction it's going to go. And I like that organic aspect of people kind of feeding off of each other. And obviously you're always going to have people that probably put something phallic in the messages, which is inevitable in anything that you do. Or people might start talking about like weird abstract space or astronomy quotes. And so, so I really like the aspect of it taking on that organic, weird storytelling and being able to have the freedom to play with that direction and create this really weird abstract montage of different audio samples. So with that, I'm going
Ginger?
to, yes.
I have a question for you from Albers. Question for Ginger, since she probably is really comfortable with Ableton, what are the pros and cons of using lots of channels for samples versus using one channel with a sampler with zoned keys?
I wouldn't say that there's necessarily an advantage. So that's actually a great prompt to mention that this is definitely a work in progress. So since the competition, I added some updates that I wanted to add functionality-wise yesterday so that we could dive into it today. So I wouldn't necessarily say that there's advantages to doing it that way. To be able to test everything out and get the pipeline set up today, I just happened to set it up that way so that I could test everything out more easily. Because when I was setting everything up, it just made more sense testing-wise to go that direction, but I wouldn't say there's advantages to do it that way over doing like simpler or simpler. So that would be something that would be like the next step that I would test to see which one makes more sense and is easier to control.
Yeah, Albert says he leans towards small projects being multiple channels and larger projects leaning into sampler more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah,
we agree. We agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Albert's question quick?
Of course.
So I think a lot of the difference is just visibility. The way that Ginger has it set up, everything is kind of on the top level to see all the effects for her individual channels, her individual tracks. And if you use a sampler and divide it up, it's more like inside the instrument and you have to dig in deeper if you want to change stuff. Also, if you wanted to have all of the effects be the same for every sample, then you want to put them all in one sampler. But if you want different effects that you want different kinds of controls over for each sample, then the more you separate them, the better.
Yeah, currently they all have the same effects on them, but yeah, definitely. But they all have the same effects currently. So I think it'd be interesting, and that's kind of what we're doing today is more of an exploration of seeing where this would go next. And definitely because this is started out as a 1 hour brainstorm, put it together, and then I added some functionality to it. And so the stage that we're at right now is working out some of the issues with like the Ableton refresh and then exploring where it can go from there. Yeah.
Cool. So should we jump into your problem now?
Sure.
Okay. So I took on this part of Ginger's project because this is kind of my forte, is when there's some like weird like hang up that seems impossible to get through to just hack at it. I'm pretty good at hacking at it until I can find a way to make it work. The actual solution is not too hard, and I'm just going to walk Ginger through doing it. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I got there. So her thing is that Ableton doesn't reload these samples until she clicks on the Ableton window, because it thinks the files couldn't have possibly changed if you're just in Ableton the whole time. So Ableton just assumes that if you haven't left the application, the files must not have changed. So the first thing I looked in is the live object model, which is Ableton's, it's Ableton's sort of API interface, and that's what TD Ableton uses to connect to it. And I searched through the live object model for anything that said like reload sample or refresh sample or anything like that. There's a link to the live object model documentation in the TD Ableton doc, so you can look through that. It's easy to do anything in the live object model with TD Ableton, but alas, there was nothing like that. I tried everything. I tried like telling it that we changed the sample name and any kind of, I just tried everything I could to sort of like kick the samples, and it wouldn't do it. So I had to leave the live object model behind and decided to try to simulate clicking on the Ableton window and then clicking back to the TouchDesigner window. So then I looked through Python libraries, because Python is a wealth of crazy hacks that people have made to interface with everything. And so I found a bunch of kind of defunct Windows interfaces that don't work with modern versions of Python, but finally landed on one library that would let you actually interface with Windows directly. So this is a Windows-only solution. There's probably a similar thing for Mac. But this one just works on Windows. And the library I found is PyGetWindow. So Ginger, maybe you could just show how you install a new library. There's info about this in the wiki too, and Matthew Regan has made a tutorial about how to get Python libraries as well. But basically you just install the Python library into a separate version, into your local version of Python with just this command line. Go ahead and run that. We actually installed it before just to make sure it worked. So she has it, but just to show you what it looks like to install it. Yeah. And then maybe, Ginger, you could show quickly in the preferences just the spot where you set it up to look at your local version of Python. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
If you edit preferences, so when you're installing a new library, you have to have the current version of Python that TouchDesigner is using, and then you have to point this preference to wherever you install it. Once you do that, you can just install Python libraries from the command line as normal, and they'll just work in TouchDesigner. So now we have the library we need. And so Ginger, maybe you could just go to where your scripts are that do the work of text-to-speech, and we'll just write a new script that's going to that's going to simulate jumping between the windows.
Yeah, it's gonna wait for a minute, obviously, because it's inside the engine comp. Actually, not that one. So I still have kind of a backup version of it. So this is the one that became the engine comp.
Okay.
That makes sense.
We'll just make it. We can make it in there, and then maybe you can show people how to do it. I've actually never used the engine comp, so but you can show.
Easy. So after this, I should be able to just save it as the talks again, and then reload it in the engine comp, and it should hopefully work.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But will we be able to test it with that one to test that it works?
Yeah, we should be able to.
Okay. Cool. So I guess let's just start a new script dat that we're just gonna we'll make a script that basically simulates clicking on Ableton and clicking back. And I'm just going to walk you through writing that. So the first thing, we got to import PyGetWindow because we're going to use that library. And if you could if you could import py-get window as GW, then you don't have to type py-get window over and over again, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You want me to use a script app and not writing a text script, right?
No, just use a text app.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah, we're just gonna run it as a script.
Yeah, I was just going by what you had said previously. All right, so we're importing.
Sorry, did I say script at? Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Import. What was it? Py-get window, right?
Import py-get window as GW. Then we don't have. If you type after that as GW, you can just write GW instead of py-get window.
GW dot.
Which
whatever.
is really nice. So the way you get access.
The GW or GY?
Oh, thank you. That was my.
Okay.
GW?
Yeah, with my view, I can't actually read your text very well, unfortunately. So.
I'm doing okay here, so I'll watch.
Oh, okay, cool. So let's see. The way we get the window is through the titles. So first we'll get a list of your window titles, and let's just say titles equals GW dot get all titles. And it's capital first letters, camel case. So yeah, all in titles are capitalized, and it's a function, so it needs a parentheses at the end. And so often when I'm testing a new library, I'm just printing stuff out as I go. So let's just print titles and run that. Just print titles, and then we can open a text port and just see that it works. Make sure we actually get our titles properly.
Oh, I had an error, I think. What did I miss? Line 1. GY is not. Oh, that's why. I don't know. Hold on, 1 second.
That's an old error.
I seem to want to do GW.
You're stuck on GY.
Yeah.
Oh, you're probably looking at
GW. All right, so let me run that again. All right, parsec.
All right,
so
looks like you got all your windows there, right?
Yep.
Okay, so cool. So now, like, the idea is we're going to search through that and find the Ableton window.
Okay.
We'll make a loop for T in titles. So we're going to look through each title and then colon. And so we'll just say, I can't see what your Ableton is called, but is it Live 10 Suite?
Ableton Live 10 Suite.
Yeah. So let's just make an if in there that says if quote Ableton Live 10 Suite in T. So we're just going to grab that. We're going to find that quote. So that just means if that string is within the window title, then we found the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that if we find it, what we're going to have to do is store the current window, because we're going to want to just flash onto Ableton and flash back. So let's first grab the current window before we change the window. So let's say current window equals and that is gw.getActiveWindow. That's the name of the function that gives you the currently active window.
Okay.
And it's a function again, so.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Parentheses.
Yeah. Got it.
And then we're gonna get the. I'm gonna do this in a kind of verbose way.
Okay.
So Ableton window equals, we're going to also get the Ableton window. So let's set Ableton window equals gw.getWindows with title. It's plural, yeah, windows with title it's going to give you a list. And then you're going to say parenthesis T. So we're sending that name. So we're finding the windows with the title. And because it's a list, there's only going to be one, because you're only running one Ableton. We're going to just get the first element of the list. So square bracket 0 after that. Because that thing gives us a list. So we need to grab the first element in the list. So
yeah, sorry, can you say that again? I was reading Marcus's chat message. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. So that function returns a list. So we need to do square bracket 0 to get there's only going to be one element in that list. Okay, so now we've got the 2 windows. By the way, I got all these function names from the documentation for PyGet windows. So that's part of this process. When you get a Python library, you dig through and see if it has what you need. So now we got the 2 windows, and what we're going to do is say Ableton window.activate. And then that's a function. Yeah, exactly. And then we're just going to jump right back and say current window.activate in the next line.
Got it.
So this is skipping out all the experimentation I did, but it all kinds of worked. It worked basically the way I expected it to. It's gonna just really quick. You can't even see anything happen, but it activates the Ableton window, and that causes the reload. And that's it. So you can give this a try and see if it works on your computer. Hopefully, it works the same as it does on mine.
Yeah, let me go ahead and delete because I don't need it. I'm gonna override the engine comp for now, just to test some things. So.
Oh, actually, yeah. Actually, we need to add one more line because we actually want to run that script within your script after it makes a change. So sorry. So in your script, after you create the file, you're gonna just do
run
is your op text1.run or however you want to do run that script. Yeah. Okay. So now it's just going to do that quick flash every time it loads a new file.
Cool. All right, so overriding that, and it was this one that we were in, right? Correct. All right, and then so let me I might need to change the port for. I'm gonna just change this to 3, just so there's no issues, because the engine has the same one, even though it's closed. And then touch in, we'll change this to 3 also. And okay, so that should be sending directly to there. Okay, so then I'm going to do a test on here. I might need to reconnect to Twitch. We'll see. And pull up this window. Okay, so that's coming in. So if I switch, and so I'm doing, let's see, incoming 1, I'll put over number 8. So if it worked, we should be able to hear number 8. Oh, that worked. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
I like that. Works first time.
Yeah. So that it took me a while to find the library and figure all that stuff out, but the solution was actually pretty simple. So
yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I guess I'll pass the mic to Jarrett, who was going to show you some stuff about the network, I guess.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I never got to see your file. I don't know if you didn't send it to me as well, but
no, you had said that you wanted to recreate it from scratch live or something. So we were gonna.
So you asked a question yesterday, which I think was what was the best way to fire the clips, right?
Yeah.
How are you doing it now?
So right now they are playing, and I'm just mixing the different volume levels. And the last time that I did it, TD Ableton was set up a little bit differently. And so things are slightly different than the last time that I did that. So within TD Ableton, because it's using the, I'll just show on here so you can see how it's set up. So inside TD Ableton, I have the individual Ableton tracks. And then, so basically what I wanted to be able to do is re-trigger each track every time that I hit the pad. So basically I can trigger when it plays.
Cool. So the way I approached it was that I wanted to try to use, which I usually do when I sit down with TD Ableton, is I try to use as few notes as possible, because it can get really unwieldy if you have to add a track and then retrack that track. You know, if you change the order of your tracks, you have to go back in and reorder them. So, so the goal for me was to try to do it with a single node, which was a single component called the Ableton clip slot. So I'm wondering if we should try to do this in your system as well, like we did with Ivan.
Sure.
Yeah, do you want to go for it?
Sure, we can do either way. I can either do it or we can switch over to you.
It's straightforward enough that we can give it a shot. And yeah, you guys killed it last time, so give it another shot.
Go for it.
So yeah, you want to go inside of the TD Ableton package and grab an Ableton clip slot. And I would actually, if you, just to keep things simple, maybe you should also kill those guys that you have there. Is there a way to mute those, Ivan? Is there a way to mute those tracks without deleting them?
You can disconnect the operators. If you go to you can select them all, go to the Ableton page, and turn off connect. No, I'm not sure that not turning off cooking will work, weirdly. Select all the operators.
Disable.
Select all the operators. And then go to the TD Ableton parameter page. No, I'm sorry. On the operators themselves, we're just going to disconnect the individual operators. So on the TD Ableton parameter page in your parameter dialog, it's
you mean this one?
That one, yep. And you can just turn off connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they shouldn't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So so you have a clip slot there, right? Did you just put that guy down?
No, I left it there because I wasn't sure if I would need it
before. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So can you half split? Do you know how to do that? Like with the Windows key and the arrow and split Ableton and okay.
Yeah.
And so we can see Ableton and.
Oh, you mean Ableton and here.
I want to be able to see Ableton and Touch at the same time. Yeah. And then we just need one window inside of Touch. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay. And then can you turn off the view of your sends in Ableton? It's the button on the.
Turn off the view
of your sends, the extra the reverb, delay, and yeah, or just delete them, whatever. You probably don't need them. Yeah, you can just turn off S, I think, but I don't know. Okay, and yeah. So what do we have there? What I can't read so easily, but you have one track each. They're called what? I can't really read.
0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 6,
okay,
0, 7.
so let's go to the Ableton clip slot component, and then open the parameters, and let's and then let's double check again. I can't see very well, but the tracks should be ordered when you click that track menu. They should be ordered in the same order that you see horizontally inside of Ableton, right? So if you open up the track menu on the parameter box of the Ableton clip slot parameter box, Yeah, go back to the Ableton track page.
Sorry.
It's the Ableton track page.
This one?
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
There's a track menu. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you open that up, you'll see that they're ordered. They should be ordered in the same order vertically as they are horizontally inside of Ableton.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So what we need to do now is we want to map your MIDI controller to be able to to change those clip slots. But as well, we're going to want to fire them when we change. So you'll see we can do this. We can make it stop right now if you set your track to be S1, or 01. Yeah. Just click on that guy, and then go to the clip slot page. Yeah. And then go to the slot parameter and change that to be any one of those stop slots. So it says empty. And then click fire. And it'll stop it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then set it back to that slot, which is the one with the audio. Yeah. The last one, number 8.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. And then click fire. And now it'll play. So that's what we're going to do with the MIDI controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you have all these 8 tracks, these extra 8 tracks there?
Yeah, because I have 8 different audio samples.
Oh, you're going to have like a matrix. No, not 8 horizontally, but 8 different empty stops vertically?
No, they just happen to be on the bottom. That wasn't really a reason for that. Yeah. So there's one audio file on each track running.
Yeah, why don't you shift them? Why don't you shift all those samples up to be the second row, and that way we don't have to be somewhat arbitrarily low. Yeah. So now you've got a row that you can stop them on, and you've got a row that you can play them on. Make sense?
Yeah.
So all we need to do now is we need to program with your MIDI controller. We need to program a track change horizontally, and then click the right clip. If you're stopping it, you're going to click clip 0 in that track. If you're going to play it, you're going to run clip 1, right?
Correct.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So the first thing we need, so we also want to make sure that these are the first 8 tracks in Ableton, which it looks like they were, but you would want to make sure if you inserted a track into this, we're going to do it numerically based. You can get more fancy with names, but we're just going to do it numerically. So you wouldn't want to insert a random other track at the beginning of the Ableton session, right?
Okay.
Okay. So now we can go back to programming our MIDI. So do you have a MIDI in chop programmed and a device programmed for your controller?
Yeah.
Yeah. So grab a MIDI in chop.
It's all in here. I have it broken out with the.
Let's do a fresh one because I want to show you a technique to make it easier to program stuff and a safer way to program stuff.
Actually,
I mean, you don't have to delete.
Yeah, I'll leave that and then I'll just
make a new one. Yeah.
MIDI in or MIDI map?
MIDI in. Yeah, I never use MIDI in map anymore. So if you hit hit the first button, which is button number 1. Yeah, so we should get something back. So we should take a look at this. So there's an aftertouch on your system, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
That's interesting. Cool. So you can't turn that off on the controller, right? You can't.
I think can you do it under the MIDI device mapping?
I don't know. So we have a toggle for aftertouch? Probably not.
Maybe not.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. So we only care about the notes, right? So we want to put a select chop after, and give ourselves some more room for a little bit. We don't need to look at Ableton anymore for a little bit.
I'll just do it over here for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, and then selecting the non-touch messages. Correct?
So just say not after touch. So not is
right.
caret.
Is the caret.
Yeah.
Yep. Not after.
And then after star would be fine.
Yep.
That should drop it.
Oh, star and then after.
Channel names not chopped. Yeah, inside the channel names. No, no, backspace.
Oh, I see. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right there.
Okay. All right, good. Now go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across for your first row, which is your play buttons, right? And make sure those are in order. So do it again and make sure they're in order. They're in order?
Yep.
Okay, so take a constant chop. And then snap that on the snap page. So what that will do is sample all the channels that are defined in the input. So go to the snap page, go snap input. Yeah. So that's a hard-coded. Now you've created a mapping that is hard-coded that will never go away. Right?
So this I've never done before, the snap. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you explain what that does again?
So it takes the input, like we went through the effort of making sure that we had only the channels that we wanted isolated and that they were in the right order. And it's easy to do that if we followed, like if we just do it on the keyboard, right? Or on the controller. And then we take a constant chop, put those channels that happen to be in the right order at this moment, and click snap. And now we have a hard-coded order for those guys.
That's cool. I didn't know about that.
So we're going to need to do that again for the second row. But here, let's go back to the MIDI in chop, MIDI in chop. Yeah, go back there and just select it. Yeah. Select the MIDI in chop. Yeah. Open the parameters and click reset channels. Yeah. Up one. That was reset values, reset channels. Okay, they're gone, right? But look back at your order, still there, okay? Okay, so what you can do with this is you can create a pathway of order for your channels to pass through. So you can create a hard mapping, no matter what's coming in via the MIDI in chop, which is always going to be a strange order of crazy stuff. So what you can do is disconnect that first input from the constant, the first input from the constant. Just disconnect that wire. Yeah, you don't need it anymore. Yeah, and call this row 1, MIDI row 1. Sure, call it MIDI row 1. Okay. Now move it up so that it's above the MIDI in chop. Yeah, right there. And put down a replace chop. And then connect MIDI into audio the top guy. I can't read. Sorry, it's really low. The first note is MIDI. The constant chop. The constant chop. Select that guy.
This one.
Correct. Yeah. First input. Yeah. And then the MIDI in chop is the second input. Okay. And then, so now you've got a filter that's only going to pass through those channels. So go back and now just bang on your notes. Okay, you're only going to get through there those guys in the right order. Okay. Okay, so we want to do that for the next eight buttons because you have 2 rows of buttons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so clear your MIDI in chop. Yeah, and then get another constant. Oh, and we want to put it through the select as well because it probably has aftertouch. So yeah, connect this, post the aftertouch select. Yeah, like that, and then go in order for the next row. Yeah. Good. Okay, sample or snap it or whatever. Yeah. Good. Okay. So now you can take this set and make them the second row. So you can merge them together with the first set. So make room for yourself up with the first constant chop, and then put this below as MIDI row 2 or whatever. Yeah. Merge those two together, and you've got yourself a perfectly solid mapped set of channels.
Merge these two, correct?
Yeah. And then that's now the first input to the replace. Yeah. Good. Now you've got a clean mapping that won't get disturbed if you add another device or blah 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 blah.
Nice.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So now because we have 16 channels. We've got 16. I didn't go the whole distance with your making all the programmatic stuff, but I'm just showing you a strategy for how to build this stuff, and then you can go back and add features to it. So now we can at least rename these guys to be, let me check my work. Yeah, we should call the first 8 be stop 1 through 8, and the next 8 be play 1 through 8. So stop, yeah, exactly. And space, yeah, perfect. No space between play.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Good. Great. Wonderful. Okay, and then put that into a null. And then put down a chop exec. And then connect the null to the chop exec. And by the way, you could have done a shorter move. So delete that chop exec. Right click on the output of null 1.
And go straight to it?
Go to DATS, and then go to chop exec. And now notice it collapses down. Just gives you the links that it can connect to.
Yeah, save that.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've been getting excited over the best things.
So yeah, this is actually the order that I actually built things as well. So this is the first thing I did because I knew I needed a clean mapping, right? And then the second question you want to ask yourself is, now that I have a clean mapping, is how am I going to handle these events that are coming in, right? They're turning, all I'm getting is chop channels that are turning on and off. So I'm not going to write a bunch of code in line here. I'm going to add an extension. So so we're going to need to create an extension. So we're already in slash, which is not good. We should actually be working inside of a component. And generally, in my opinion, you don't want to work in slash. You want to work inside components. So that's a suggestion to you as well.
Yeah, you want me to collapse all this?
Yeah, if you can move it up a level, that would be good without breaking stuff. I think you're going to be good.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully I didn't break anything. Collapse selected sometimes breaks stuff. Go inside of base 1 and hopefully everything's connected still.
Looks like it.
Good. Okay. So let's add an extension to this. So right click on the network. Right there. Yeah. And go open customize parent component. Do you use this very much, this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's add an extension. So go to so first of all, let's name this component something. So let's call it mix, because that's what I called it. So go to the parent shortcuts and tags page, the shortcuts and tags page on this, down, and then call it mix, M-I-X, capital M.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
It's a parent name. So it's, your father's name's Dave, capital Dave, right? So it's a parent name, capital. And then the extension code, which is the other tab.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to add an extension. We're going to attach it to mix. So we're going to call it capital M-I-X, capital M, lowercase I, lowercase x, EXT. So capital E, lowercase x, lowercase t. Yeah. And then click add. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to edit this guy. Hopefully you have a text editor that's easy to read. Not Notepad, or are you using Notepad?
No.
Okay, you have a tax pad. You have a note. Well, let's see. Click edit.
Sublime.
Just
It
click
should be
edit.
Sublime. Where?
Okay, good. Okay, so click edit on. See the right beside the extension name. No.
Oh wait, no. Sorry, which one? Oh,
Up.
here. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. And 1 second, it's way over here.
So that's how you would add that's kind of how it's those 3 moves just to get an extension going. The second thing I'll do is I'll just go and I'll wipe out all this code all the way up to just below the owner comp line. So everything below owner comp, delete.
From here down.
Below that, yeah, correct. All the way there.
Don't need these.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. There you go. Delete that. Okay.
All that stuff is really just examples.
So
Yeah.
So that is so that you just went through like the most vanilla process of making an extension. Okay. And the reason why we like to make extensions is because we don't end up with a bunch of code and a bunch of DATs all over the place. We end up with really, really simple code inside of our file, inside of DATs that are callback DATs and things like that. And then we have one place for all of our code for the system that we're building. Great. And then it's easier to manage over time. So we're gonna start by adding a function, and this is also very common, which is we need to handle the channel event, right? We have those events coming in. We need to handle them somehow. So we're gonna make a new function called, and so that means def, type def, space, and then call it lowercase HAN handle, lowercase handle, uppercase channel, uppercase event. And then we're gonna send in the channel. So put a channel, channel there. We're gonna send in the channel. No, just call it just type channel, the word channel. Yeah. And
where is it defining?
And you have to actually type self before that as well. But sorry.
Where is it defining channel? Is that just automatically?
We're gonna make that once we're done making this really basic function. Like we're gonna implement. We're gonna put this function into the callbacks.
And you were saying I need to add.
Self.
I think
self,
got it,
comma,
like the one before. Yeah.
Yeah. Self space channel. Yeah, there, and then comma value. Or val. Just call it val.
Self val. Here.
Yeah. I actually called it values. No, channel first. Although that would be up to you if you were writing this yourself, but I don't want to get off track. And then I called it value. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then hit enter. And then make some notes about this. So type quote quote quote. So type quote quote quote.
Oh, quote.
Double quote. Enter. Enter. And then make a note. So handles chop exec callback. Just type that. It's a note. So handles chop exec callback. Yeah. There you go. And then hit enter again. Quote. You don't need don't need a space there. You can delete that space. Or enter. Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. So now you've made a function that is compliant. It's working already because you put that the help text there. That's perfectly functional, and you don't need to put a pass or anything, a new line. That'll just work the way it is. So save this. Now we might do to make sure it's working is put a debug in here. So you might add a debug and just type debug, and then let's just do channel. So debug channel. Debug. It's just like the print statement.
Parentheses, yeah.
Yeah, and I would recommend never ever typing print again and using debug all the time.
Okay.
Because that way you don't end up with random print statements in your file where you have no idea where they come from.
On that note, now that you mentioned that, when you do leave a print statement in a script, is there an easy way to find where you left it?
That's a question for Ivan, but I think the answer is no.
No, there's not, and that's why we created debug actually, which tells you exactly where that statement came from.
Oh, that's great.
it'll print your data and then tell you what data it came from. So that's the whole point of the debug statement instead of print.
Very good to know. Yeah, because I've definitely done that before, and I had to go hunting to try and find what was printing the message. And
so just use debug from now on. I never use print ever. So I always use debug. So.
Good to know.
Yeah. Good. So save this, and then let's open a text port, and let's see if we can get your MIDI. Pushing your MIDI buttons should trigger that that function. Yeah, you can close that now. We're done with the component editor.
Done with this.
Yeah. And you can go full screen with touch. We don't need Ableton right now, just to give us a little more real estate. Yeah, there you go. Good. Okay. All right. So clear your text port, so it's easier to see what's going on. There you go. We don't need that so big. You can make that quite small. And then we're going to edit the chop exec. There you go. Perfect. Move that away from your parameter box. There you go. Okay, but keep it on screen if you can. But okay, so click. Now we want to edit this callback, right? So you can just do it in line here if you want. We don't need to open a text editor because it's one line of code. And that's the whole point with these guys, is that generally you don't want any, you want really, really basic calls to functions in extensions when you run these things. So in the parameter callback, or the on value change callback, remove that return string. And we're going to run the extension. So we're not going to use the parent shortcut. We're going to run the extension because this is something that's happening on the inside of this component. So we're going to type ext. And what did we call our extension? Do you remember?
No, something ext.
It was mix ext. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So ext.
Was that a test?
Yeah, I mean this is how I get treated sometimes by our developers. So. It's good. It's good for learning. So ext. It
was first. Capital M and then capital ext, right?
Getting text overlays over this Skype window, by the way, which is a little annoying, but I think it's from you guys texting over in Skype to each other. So delete this. It's ext dot mix ext. So the ext object.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ext dot.
Yeah. So the ext object will search for the so it's not min, it's mix. We'll look for the mix extension. Good. Okay. Dot. So delete backspace dot. Handle channel event, lowercase handle. Yeah. That's our function we made, right? And then pass in channel, comma val, because we're going to pass the value into the function as well.
I think we did value.
Well, we did, but that's okay. And I actually did that on
gotcha.
purpose because it's val in that case, but value in our case.
Because we're passing in the val from here. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So we should get something when you push a MIDI button. We're lucky. There you go. What's it saying?
It
says,
says,
right.
Yeah, one. Can you see that?
Right.
Whoa. 1 second. Base 1, null 1, value 0, 0, debug line 26.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're good, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now let's get to work here. Okay, let's go back to the go back to the extension.
Uh-huh.
And the nice thing is now, like, that's the other thing of the nice thing with treating things like this, or like working like this, is you kind of make the bare bone connection to your system, to the extension, and then you can just chill inside the extension and do all kinds of stuff. So it just makes your life so much easier to work like this. So so now we don't need that debug anymore. and I'm just going to coach you through this.
Okay, let's do it.
So what do we need? We need to detect, we only care if the channel turns on, right? Because we only care when it turns on. We don't care when it turns off, right? So we can start this out with an if value. Lowercase, yep, perfect. And then close that with a colon.
No.
Oh, not Sammy, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what we want right away is we want to know the track ID, right? We want to know which track it is, or which column we essentially clicked in, right? So you want to type here track ID. So track lowercase, ID uppercase, equals space equals space channel dot index, because we're going to get the channel object, which is the thing we passed in, and it has a member called index, and we want to get let's just start there. So then hit enter and debug track ID. And then save that. And then let's look in the text port and punch through everything. We should see something. 1, 2, 3. Go in order so we can see. So clear your text port and let's test this for real. So clear your text port. Make it bigger, maybe. 0. Okay, good. And then 1, 2, 3. Keep going. Looks right, right?
Yep, looks correct.
Okay, but we know that we only have 8 tracks, right? So we don't have 16 tracks, we have 8 tracks. We have 2 rows of 16, or 2 rows of 8. So we should put a modulo. So open up your code. And put in a modulo. Sorry. So follow the channel.index with a percent sign.
Modulo 2, or modulo 8.
Yeah, %8. Yeah. Good. Okay. And I actually know in advance that the track numbers in Ableton, well, if we look, so we're good. Well, let's just run through that. So save that and then run through it again. And you'll see it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, good. So now let's go back to the clip slot component and look at what it needs, right? And we'll look at and think about what we need to do. Okay. So go to the track page, because that's essentially what we're choosing right now is the tracks. So go to the Ableton track. Yeah. And what we want to do is when you push that button, we want to switch the track menu to focus on that track. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So open up that menu. Okay, so what index do we need to send it to be on track 4?
We would need, so that would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So it would be 4 because 0 would be none. Is that? I'm assuming
that's correct. Yeah, no, that's correct. So let's do that. So we have to add 1 because we were 0 based right now. Mm-hmm. So go back to your code. And toss in a +1, and then we'll keep going. Yeah, +1. Good. Okay, new line. Okay, now we're going to start operating on that clip slot guy. Okay, but we don't want to have to keep saying op clip slot or blah blah, and that's the whole reason of having self.ownerComp, because it makes it easy for us to access components or operators inside of the extension. So in our init statement, we can add a clip slot member that is the component that we're operating on. So below the owner comp line in the init statement,
okay,
add a new line, and type self.clip slot, lowercase clip, uppercase slot, Perfect. Dot par. Oh, go back. Dot. Oh, sorry. No, you're right. That's it. Hold on. No, I'm being stupid. I'm reading the wrong thing. So clip slot space equals, and then self.owner comp. So this is you using the owner comp. The comp is the component that the extension is attached to, right? So that's the parent of this guy. And we want to get the operator on the inside. So backspace is not par, it's op. And then in parentheses and single quotes, type the name of the operator, which is the clip slot, which I don't know what it's called.
Oh, we lost Ivan. I think
Probably Ableton clip slot 1, but we should double check.
Yeah, I'll type it out and then we'll double check. Ableton clip slot 1.
Yeah,
so we'll check that. Looks right.
That's right. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, so that's good. Now it's easier, obviously, to type in our main body function. We want a new line, self.clipslot. Yeah. Self.clipslot.par. .track. Uppercase T. Sorry, uppercase T, because the track parameter is a custom parameter on Ivan's wonderful TD Ableton system.
Okay.
And then space equals space track ID. Make sense?
Yep.
So that should be enough to change the track number when you hit the MIDI notes. So save this, and then let's test that. So hit your MIDI notes 1 through 8, and let's watch the menu. We're getting an error. Okay.
Line 29, yeah.
We got a spelling error or something, so line 29.
Probably. Self.clipslot.par. Are you sure it's capital T?
Yeah, it's definitely capital T. But I think clip slots returning none, so we've got a problem with clip. What's the error again? I can't read it, so can you read it to me? It's too small.
Attribute none type object has no attribute par.
Yeah, so line 29. So let's go back.
And also line 23. So let's see what line 23 says. 23 is, that's the function. Value.
Oh, sorry. No, that's right. Self.owner comp is the component that it's attached to. Yeah, so maybe it should, yeah, I can't see why it wouldn't be, but.
There's a question from Greg here saying, Ivan, Jarrett, did you create the extension using the comp editor? There you can create the extension and not have to delete all that example code. And you have the ext dat parameter all hooked up.
Oh, it is.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Yes.
We used the component editor and we deleted the code so it wasn't in our way.
There you go.
So, Ivan, you got eyes on this?
Yeah. So make sure you're in the right owner comp.
Yeah, so debug the self.owner comp. So add a line after self.owner comp. The top line.
Oh, gotcha.
No, yeah, delete that. Yeah. Just after. Yeah, before the clip slot probably, but whatever.
Okay, hold on, we'll add there. And then so debug self.owner comp.
Debug's spelled wrong.
Debug self.owner comp. Okay, and then
let's check that out.
Yeah, comp path base 1.
Why is this? Oh, we're inside of / Oh, okay, you are right. Thank you. So we're working. Oh, so you're Ableton clip slot. You should put that in the same component as your base 1. So, and by the way, you should work inside of TD Ableton package. It's a package of stuff. You should be copying. Well, you should cut this out of here, You should cut that clip slot out of here, and none of this should really be in here. Yeah, so cut this out of here. Yeah, and then go into /base1. Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, so this is the right place for all of your stuff. See, like you've got the TD package loaded. It's in /root. Fine. You go in there, you get the clip slot monitor system, you put it into your component, then you build a system to monitor Ableton using this component. Right? That's what we're doing. Yeah, you should, because otherwise it's going to be hard for you to upgrade the package, the TD Ableton package, to a new package when a new package comes out, because all your code's going to be inside there, right?
Yeah, the package is really meant to be copy everything from there into your project.
Got it. Yeah, when I was working on this, it's obviously kind of in prototyping phase right now. So as you could see, like I even left some of the other things in there because I wasn't sure which ones I would end up using. So
Sure.
Yeah.
So it should work now.
Okay. So pushing line 30 and
well, you might need to reinitialize your extension once. So right click on the desktop.
On the desktop?
Oh, sorry, the network. Sorry, right click on the network. Yeah. Open the customized parent component. Yeah. And then go back to your extension section, which is there, and go init. Click on init. Yep. There you go. Try it again.
Looks like it's working.
Okay, let's check our menu. Is it switching? Yeah, it is, right?
Let's see. Yep. Well, it switched for a second.
Yeah, it's switch. It's gonna switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So now, when we switch to the track, we want to play when we're hitting the second row of stuff. You want to play that clip. This is what I was assuming. It might not be exactly what you want, but the second row is play. The first row is stop. So we need to fire we need to push that fire clip parameter on the Ableton clip slot page. So switch to the clip slot page on the Ableton clip slot. Go to the parameter box for Ableton clip slot. Yeah.
This is what you want.
And then there's a fire clip button. See that?
Yep.
So roll your mouse over fire clip. Roll your mouse over the label fire clip, like over the name.
Yep.
And you'll see it tells you what the name of the parameter is.
Fire clip.
Fire clip. Yeah.
All one word.
Okay. So why don't we make a function called fire clip? So let's add a new function to your extension. And let's call it fire clip. So def fire clip.
Event.
Open parentheses. Yeah. Open parentheses. Self. Oh no, just fire clip.
Just fire clip. Okay.
Yeah. And then open and then self comma. And we're going to pass in for the fire clip. What does it need? It needs to know the track ID and it needs to know the slot to fire. So so track ID capital I. Yeah. And then comma slot. And maybe I should have called that slot ID, but just call it slot. And then close up the function with a colon, and then add a comment, quote, 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 and enter, launches the specified clip. And then close that up. And then it's pretty easy. We need to do self.clip slot, which gives us, we know that's working now finally. Yeah, dot par, dot slot, capital S, equals lowercase slot. And then enter new line, and then do self.clipslot.par, dot fire clip. Capital F. Capital F, lower everything else because it's a parameter name. All custom parameter names are uppercase first letter, and everything else is lowercase. Dot pulse, because you're going to click it. All right, so we're going to set the menu to the right, either really essentially clip 1 or clip 2, and then we're going to hit pulse. So, and that's pulse is a function, so you add a, yeah. Okay. Good. So make an extra line between your two functions there so it looks a little cleaner. Fire clip and handle, then they're all smashed up together. Good. Okay. So now we want to run this function. So let's add an if statement under instead of the debug track ID. We want to check what the channel name is. No, like remove debug, the whole debug line. We don't need it. Tab in 1. Yeah, okay, good. So if we want to check our channel name, so if the channel name is play, then do this. If the channel name is stop, do that. So if space channel dot name is play, but we know the name is actually play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can do play square brackets. We want to trim off the last character of the play name. So channel dot name square bracket. No, delete that.
Yeah, channel dot name square bracket.
Correct. Yeah. Colon.
I see.
Inside inside the list. So channel name inside there over 1 colon -1 colon -1 there. Yeah. Colon -1. First colon. So
so inside the square bracket, so we're calling
square bracket colon type colon.
Yep.
Okay, -1.
-1.
Okay, remove that extra colon on the outside. There you go. Okay, that means give me the string back, but trim off the last character.
Gotcha.
And then not equals because you're doing a logic check equals. And then in quotes play, lowercase, and then colon close. In quotes play. It's a string because we're comparing the string. So play is in quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Good. And then close that with a double. Yeah, that's the if statement there. Perfect. Wonderful. Close that with a double. Yeah. And then hit enter. Tab in, and now we want to run the fire delay. So what are you going to type?
We're going to run the fire
clip.
The fire clip. So it would be calling the capital F, right? Fire clip dot run.
Yeah, but we're going to run, it's a function, so it's a function inside of our class, so we have to type self first. Right? So self dot what?
Dot lowercase fire clip.
Correct, though.
And we're
passing in what? Oh, we're running a function, so we're going to run in 2 parentheses, right? So go back.
And we're passing it.
What are we passing in?
The value from, I guess value, right? If value equals, not the track ID, it would be the value from the MIDI controller.
Yeah, it's the track ID. Yeah, we're passing in the track ID.
Okay.
Track ID. Comma. And then we're going to play. So I think they're on row 2. So we're going to play row 2. So just put a 2 there. And you're good. So let's test this. So save.
Okay, saved, and then
moving
that.
Yeah. And so we should be able to go into Ableton now. So split your screen again. Close the component editor. We're done with that guy. Yeah. Okay, so hit the top row, row 1 in the scene master column on the right column, which is the whole row on the right side of Ableton.
On the right side,
hit the first row play button, up 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there, hit that play. That's going to stop everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we should be able to play by hitting your MIDI buttons, the second row of MIDI buttons.
Looks like it's working?
Yeah, well, it'll be kind of working, but we have a little farther to go.
Well,
so,
it's triggering.
Yeah, okay, so save your file if you haven't. Okay? Test them all just so we're not, just reality check. You might have to find that you're double clicking them, but that's what we're going to fix eventually. Can you do 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 8? They're not working?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they are. But I'm on, okay, so 7. So, all right, if I go in order, it's, okay, there's 1. When I press 2, it goes back to 1.
Okay, yeah, so that is, okay, so I'm going to explain to you where we are, but we're not quite finished yet. And then we're going to talk about a bug that is happening that I'm going to show you how to fix.
Okay.
So let's make them stop now. So go back into your code.
Mm-hmm.
And then copy your if statement and paste it below. Because we're doing another if. You can do elif here, but just copy and paste this guy. Paste it right below there. Tab in. Yeah, okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so do elif there. So not, so put in an EL. And then go to change play to stop. And to stop, we can actually fire row 0. So just replace 2 with 0. Okay, so now save that, and we should be able to play and stop. And there's going to be a problem that I'm going to explain to you that you're going to notice. So just try to stop everything. Or no, you could have just stopped them now individually, right? Because it's your first row of buttons.
Well, so we're starting fresh, so.
Sure, start fresh.
Yeah, is this so it's going through now and then.
But can you stop them with the first row of buttons that we first mapped? You've got 2 rows of buttons on your controller, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Push those?
Hold on 1 second. So on the first one, because the order of them is a little bit off. Yeah. Okay. So starting with number 1, so that triggers it to play, and then.
Can you push the other one in the same column for 0?
Yeah. So it just did. It's working now. Yeah. So if you watch the first one, so.
Yeah, I saw that one work.
Yeah. And then turns it off.
Do we have an order problem right now with the mapping?
Correct. Yeah. So if I go across, so number 1. Seems to be triggering number 2 also.
Okay, so we have okay, so now we're seeing something weird. Okay, and I think I know why, but we need to be sure that our mapping order is correct, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right across the controller. So let's go back and double check that in our MIDI mapping. So let's go back to our chop. Yeah, and let's make sure stop 1 is correctly on the right button, and so on. So let's make some room there. Maybe open up the chop viewer for the merge one, or for the replace. Actually, I wouldn't even do replace. I do the rename. Do the rename.
Yeah.
Rename. Right click on that and go view. Okay. So does this make sense? Is this the right order or not?
It is the right order.
Okay. So what's going on? So is play also working in the right order? Okay. All right. Good. So the problem is this, and this is a systemic issue with especially things like TV Ableton, is your extension wants to query information. Like, for example, it wants to change the track, and then you want to change the clip that's on the track. The problem is we have to wait 1 frame for the clip, for requesting it to fire the clip, because you think you changed the track name, the track number, and it looks like it did on the, but we have to wait for it to catch up, which is really lame, but that's the way it works.
So we need to write in a delay somewhere?
We need to write in a delay, which is really clunky, but I've been dealing with this a lot lately, so I was happy I ran into it with your problem, and I'm going to show you how this is a lot easier today than it was. Well, it's a lot easier for me today than it was even last month, because I was just shown it this trick. So instead of using, you make another function that mimics the function that we're going to make a delayed version of this function, okay?
Okay.
So let's add a new function after this fire clip function.
Okay.
Yeah. And make enter line. Yeah, okay, good. So call this fire delay. And it's going to mimic the same number of yeah, exactly, of arguments. Yeah.
Okay.
And then close that up. And then make a comment, delays the fire clip event. And then close that up. Okay, so this is the weirdest thing we're going to do all day. So thankfully.
I don't know, the day is young, so.
Okay, so this is a run command. So you have to type run. Have you seen this before? Run?
The run. Have I seen the run command?
Yeah.
Just in general?
Yeah, have you ever seen it before? Yeah. Have you used it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I was just curious. So type run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about in touch in this context, like the touch run.
I'll have to see what we're doing, but I've used run before.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, that's good. So you know that the run command starts with the string that you have to build the string up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the command that's going to get delayed because it's not going to run inside of the extension anymore. It loses its context, and it runs at essentially with no component context. So it's running essentially at root, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to pass it in a context. So so what we do, but we don't think too hard. This is more of an algorithm than it is like, you can wrap your head around it on your own free time. So what you want to do is you want to make this string. So you're going to put something in 2 double quotes, okay? So create double quotes, okay? And then go back inside the double quotes. Yeah, okay. So the way this works is the run command will pass back in arguments, and you can into this string, and so it's really strange and not cool, but this is how it works. Type args square bracket 0. That's the first argument. Okay, and then the first argument is going to be the fire clip function that we're delaying. Okay, but don't worry about that yet. But the second part is going to be the argument. So we have to make like function brackets.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah, and then inside of there, args1, so args square bracket 1, comma, args square bracket 2. Square bracket. No, args square bracket 1.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's square bracket it's 1, like and then comma 2, you said?
It's close to square brackets first.
And 2.
Yeah, comma, args, no. It's weird. Yeah, args 2. That's actually correct. Okay, so that's the weird part, right? So then if you follow the double quotes, then we can start passing our arguments in. So the first argument, what did I say it was going to be?
The first argument was going to be, oh God, you're testing me. It's been, you're just going to have to tell me because I'm trying to follow along. And so I already forgot what you said.
What are we delaying right now? What are we delaying right now?
We're delaying the call to fire clip.
Correct. So that's what we're going to pass in. So comma. So put in a comma because we're starting a new part. Yeah. Self.fireclip. but we're passing the function in, right? We're not going to pass in the parentheses. We're going to actually pass the function object along, and that's going to work. I don't actually have a full comprehension of why, but
Okay,
it does work. Okay.
We're passing the function object and
You're passing the function object, which is going to get run later by the run command. Okay.
Okay. It still needs like that.
No, don't do that. Yeah, because that's not the function object. That's the that's you running the function. This is just the function object. So comma. And what are the next two things we're passing into this function? It's the other arguments. So it's track ID and slot, right? So
okay.
Track ID, and that's how we kind of relayed our track ID and slot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's make a new line because we have to pass more stuff, but it's going to get really long. So back up.
Are we still in the run command?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, you're right. So put a comma there. No, not a parenthesis, a comma. Sorry. Yeah. And then hit enter. Okay, good. And now we're going to, there's just more arguments, but we're allowed to add a new line because it'll just make it not so long. So type delay milliseconds. Delay, capital M, seconds. Correct. Okay. I think capital S. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It shouldn't be, but it is. Seconds equals 16. 16 milliseconds, which is 1 frame more or less.
Does it automatically default to milliseconds if you do delay and then or do you have to put delay in milliseconds?
I don't know what the default is. We'd have to look, but it could be delay frames. It could be delay seconds. So now back up 1 space, put a comma. Okay, enter. And then we want to, okay, so this is the other part. So when your scripts require this step to happen in them, that means it requires a frame to pass before it can finish what it's doing, and your play bar is stopped, then nothing's going to run. And so your system's going to become really clunky because it's not going to work when the play button is not running. So if you follow this little recipe for your function delays, then you can avoid that by using a delay ref, the delay ref keyword argument, which is delay ref, delay, capital R ref. This is the reference time object to use. So components have time attached to them. If you make this equal to, equals to the component, which is op shortcut dot resources. Oh, go back. Yeah. Capital R. Sorry.
TD resources.
TD. Sorry. TD resources.
TD resources.
TD capital TD capital R.
Capital R resources.
Resources.
Okay.
That object, which exists in /sys, is always around for you to use as a delay reference because it's always counting forward. Even when touch is paused, it will count forward. So then close this up. So you've now made your first delay function. Okay, save that. Okay. And it should just work better. So let's see if it works better. Okay. Now you can't push all the buttons at the same time because that'll cause problems.
That's definitely not what it's doing.
Really rapidly, you should be able to really rapidly start and stop things now. So let's put that to the test.
Okay.
You're the only one who'll be able to judge this. So.
Okay, pressing. Okay, start. I'm going through number 1 and number 2. Stop. Okay, start. Oh, see now it's still doing the. I'll tell you what buttons I'm pressing, and I'll even hold this up so you can see. All right, so this is going to start it. Okay, so start. But now watch when I go to number 2, it's actually stopping, or it's doing something with track number 1. You see how it's going back and forth?
Yeah. So let's take a look at your MIDI channel numbers. And let's go through. I want to double check your keyboard mapping. So.
This one that we just checked?
Yeah. So hold that up to the video screen, and then keep that there. Perfect. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first row is stop. Is that right? Because that's what
first row is play.
Okay. So I was doing, okay, so fine. So let's do play first. So play.
It's fine, yeah, because I can just switch a microphone. Okay, so this goes.
Play.
Play.
Wait. Go back. Play one. Play 1, 2. Okay, got it. Yeah, working. Okay, do stop 1.
Hey, are you guys accounting for 0 index, but you have 1 through 8?
Yes, we are. I believe we are accounting for it. Yes.
Yeah, because we added the 1 to it.
Okay.
Okay, so hit stop 1 again, or hit stop 2.
Stop 2.
Did you save you probably saved the extension, right?
I did, yeah. I'll do it again though.
Oh, they just went. No, I think it's working. We're just not waiting long enough. So hit stop 4.
Hitting stop 4.
Okay.
Yeah, remember you're also using the fire stuff, which Ableton times to the time of the song. So it has that little delay area in the upper left of the UI of Ableton that it's gonna wait a certain amount of time before it actually.
That's what I was saying, because I did see it eventually go down, but so I agree, but it should eventually fire. But try it. So step 4, stop 4 should work. So
okay, press stop 4.
It did work that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I know why. Because we haven't implemented the function yet. I'm being stupid. So this is exactly the same problem, because we never implemented the function. So go back to the code. Sorry. We're almost there. And change fire clip to delay clip function. Inside of your if statements. Fire delay.
Inside here. Oh, change fire clip in the
nothing had changed. We weren't running any new functions.
Right.
So I'm glad we crashed and burned there. So let's try it. And
so now it should be
both of them. There's 2 clips in there. Yeah. Fire clip in the play and in the stop. There's 2 fire clip functions. Inside the play if statement, inside of the handle channel event.
Sorry. Oh, inside of here. Okay, yeah. So.
Yeah.
So fire clip, and then where are you telling me?
No, that's fire delay as well, because we're replacing the fire clip functions with the fire delay, which is going to run the fire.
Okay, I thought we were launching one another. Gotcha.
Right? Does that make sense? What we're doing? Yeah. Save that.
I thought we were triggering one and then triggering the other. Okay, yeah. So both of those are fire delay.
This is going to work.
Okay, so start, stop. Start, stop, start. Okay, yes. Now it is running. Great. Perfect.
Good, right?
Yep, all's good.
so
then my question then, because this is awesome, and as you mentioned, like this is a really nice, clean way of doing it. I could have sworn there was a way in Ableton to just easily trigger and launch clips. So this is obviously a nice, clean, elegant way of doing it. Is there not just in TD Ableton a trigger clip?
Yeah, I mean, you could have, if you wanted, you could have just had these clip slots. You could have 1 clip slot for each slot, because you only have 8. And then all you would have had to do is click fire clip, stop clip, and then it would be really super easy, right?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so this was much more complicated because I wanted.
But no, this is great, because I on my own would have never done it this way. So it's really nice to see a completely different approach. And
yeah, this is going to set you up potentially for being more able to do more programmatic things. If you don't need it, there's nothing wrong with just having 8 clip slots, which are the same guys. They're just hard coded to those cells, and you can start and stop those slots. Actually, just go back there. Just do it yourself. So slot 1. So set it to slot 0 or slot 1 if it's not already slot. Yeah, no, slot 0. Yeah, up 1. And you click stop clip. Oh no, it's fire clip. Push it. Well, you should be able to click stop as well. Once it's fired, I think. Why is that button not coming up, Ivan?
Good question.
Try another. Yeah.
It's because that one's empty. So if I go to audio 1, I can.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Stop.
Right. And then stop it.
Okay, so
that's really dead simple as well. But the thing is, like, even if you did it that way, you're going to have 8 more clip slots that you're going to have to manage, right? And then you're still going to have to run this extension. And look back at your extension code. It's not very complicated.
Right.
Really. And you might even run into these delay problems because well, you wouldn't run into the delay problems. So the only thing you would have avoided really is the last fire delay thing, which is a good thing to know anyway. But because it's really you're just doing fire clip. You're just running fire clip based on the index, and then based on whether or not you're playing or stopping. So I don't know how you would minimize this code much more. Just even if you added more clip slots. You're still going to have to switch from one clip slot to the other. So
cool. Yeah, this is really nice and clean. And as I mentioned, it's been really helpful because this is a totally different route than I would have gone. And as you were saying, it's nice to go the more programmatic route to things instead of having way more operators than you need. So
yeah. I mean, if you didn't want to use code for this, you could have potentially exported the chop channels onto the fire clips and had 8 different clips, and then no coding required. So
I think it's a bit nasty with the pulses. You'd have to.
It's not rock solid. This is rock solid. I tested it a lot, so it's bulletproof. So
awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. No problem. So should we hand it back to Isabel?
You guys went deep.
Way
deep. I haven't been watching YouTube, so I don't know if people were actually following along with all of this.
Let's see.
So, I don't know.
There was a lot of chit chat, but yeah. How's Marcus sounding?
I probably still have a computer.
Oh, muted for one.
Marcus,
I'm muted. Sorry. I probably still have a computer voice. Let's see. What the responses are.
Let's see, where's the chat? How's Marcus sounding, guys? Hello?
Computer freak.
Yeah. So that was really good. Oh, Ginger, there's your cat.
And I think, hold on, let me see, I have the other one too.
It's very interesting that Siamese cats actually really like being together.
They really do. They just woke up.
Oh my God. Aww.
Too much.
We can see sleepy faces. Hold on. Aww. Babies.
Look at that. But you look good in white too, Ginger.
Covered in white fur? There will be plenty of that. So I don't know if people were following along on YouTube. I don't know if there's any questions or...
Here, guys.
Should we do live coding next time like this?
Yeah.
I just wanted to. I'm just going to put a link in the YouTube chat here for the streaming page. I don't know, you guys probably know about it, but it's all the streaming events coming up. If you have a streaming event coming up, please let me know. And there's some good stuff coming up this weekend and in the near future, so check it out. So, what next? What are you up to?
I don't see any questions, so I think
this
we're
weekend,
good.
Ginger.
For the weekend, I am spending time with my cat.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, hey, I actually have one thing.
Let's see, 5 days. 5 days we've had them. We've had them for 5 days.
Wow. Oh,
so
that's
yeah, I'm looking forward to spending some time with them this weekend, and of course, getting some other stuff done. But they're really good about if I put them on my lap, they'll just pass out together, like piled on top of each other. So, yeah.
Really nice.
Ivan, you brought something up, or you wanted to say anything?
Yes, Selena just wanted everyone to know that if you do have a stray print statement, we talked about like random prints in the textport, that you can just do the search, the regular TouchDesigner search, which is Alt-S, and just do a global search for the word print with an open parenthesis. And so you'll then find every print statement in the project. But for people who don't do a lot of Python, that probably is good enough.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There was one question here from Nima. Can you interface YouTube chat instead of the Twitch chat?
Yeah, so it's using an API. So basically it's using Twitch's API to get the messages. So if YouTube has an API where you can access, for example, like the messages on the stream right now in YouTube, then you could definitely switch that over and just make some adjustments on the calls to use YouTube's API instead of Twitch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, guys, I think this has been a very, very instructive session.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ginger, and sharing your in progress. Super use. It's going to be very, very popular.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely more the experimental side of things and just having fun, like doing weird narratives with different incoming messages and stuff. And I think the part that's fun about it is that you have no idea what direction it's going to go.
Yeah.
When people start typing stuff, and that's why I like the way that it's set up right now, that you can pick and choose the messages that you want to be able to work with. Because half of them are going to be just like similar stuff usually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
And it's Friday, so
it's Friday.
I'm excited.
4 o'clock. Wow, 4 o'clock on the dot. Should we end right on the dot?
Yes, that's perfect.
Because that would be the first time.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, everybody. Thank you, everybody who stayed with us, and all the videos are on our YouTube channel, so check them out. And bye, Cats. Bye, Ginger. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.